like 2 weeks out from the first presentation, 3 weeks, and I'm still working on it. So I've got my draft over here. I'm just gonna sort of talk it through, see how it feels, and then watch this back and be like, oh, maybe sometimes you just gotta hear it. I'm not doing the full thing, just sort of going through the notes. And then the snakes are eating today and tomorrow, so they cannot be part of this. So I have a rubber snake to use. So I'll just dive in. The first thing I'm gonna do is just talk about who we are, what we do, mental health, therapy, all those things. And I got these cute visuals somewhere in here. Obviously I'll have this laid out in a better order, but that's part of the reason I'm gonna watch this is so I can like write down the order that I need to have things out in. So first I'm gonna be like, so like on TV, mental health can sometimes look like either you're sort of laid out on your couch. Maybe I'll have Tonto out to demonstrate. I don't know, I'll see how it feels with him. But like sometimes you're stuck on a couch, you're just laid back talking to a therapist. And other times you'll see a support group, and then I've got these cute little folding chairs. They're actually phone stands, but they look like. So I'm gonna lay out some of those. I've got 3 of them on the table. I'll be like, sometimes it looks like a support group, I'll lay those down. We're reinventing it. We want it to feel more comfortable, more natural, so our mental health professionals can actually meet in the home. And at that point, I'll bring out like this spinny desk chair that I have anyway. And then I also got these lounge chairs, which I need to practice setting up because I'm really bad at it, but they're like, so you can meet out on your porch or you can meet in your room. And that's sort of the feel here. Got another one. So I'll start with the chair presentation. Then I'll dive into the animals. And I think I want to start pretty strong and pretty weak. So what I'm gonna do, and mind you, you'll be able to see on the table, there will be Tilly in her carrier, so you should still be able to see her like wandering around for bonus entertainment. And Tonto, the ball python, he'll be in a clear container. But I'm gonna have this in a wagon behind me with the lid off. It's breathable, but I just want maximum airflow. But before I pull it out, I'm gonna slide the lid on and I'm gonna bring it out and I'll be like, inside this is a venomous snake. And I've got my caution sign. And that's actually because afterwards they're gonna get to handle Tonto and Tilly, but I don't want them to handle baby snake. So we'll have this as a do not touch, but it'll be a nice visual. I'll bring it out. I'll be like, don't worry guys, he's in a second container inside of this container, so he can't get out. So then I'll kind of crack the lid maybe. I'll have to rehearse it with him. So our newest snake, our little baby, is going to teach us about unmet expectations and misunderstandings. So I'm gonna give you some information and everything I tell you is gonna be true. And then I'll be like, this is a venomous snake. It's native to Texas, like things like that, and sort of describe it. And I'll be like, any guesses? And I have coming in the mail, like a 3D printed rattlesnake and a 3D printed cobra. So I'm gonna have those in here as well. And I'll be like, did anyone guess a rattlesnake? And I'll reach in and I'll like rattle, it makes a sound with its tail, so I'll rattle the thing and I'll be like, you were wrong. And I'll show the fake one. Okay, but did anyone guess a cobra? Because I'm gonna say that this one can like flatten its head. Did anyone guess a cobra? You're also wrong. And maybe I'll do a viper one because they might know that from the new Zootopia movie, I don't know. I'll see how the room's reacting. If the room seems bored of the gimmick, then I'll just skip it. And if not, I'll be like, did anyone guess a viper? And then I'll be like, well, what it actually is. And then I'll reveal the hognose snake. And he's gonna be in this. And he's such a baby. He's gonna actually be in here. And he's not in here right now. So then I'll get him out. He's such a little baby. And I'll handle him for a little bit and then I'll put him back in his container. And I've got printed pictures. I think they're back at the office actually. But I've got printed pictures of him so I can be like, look around. And I'm either gonna do the big one that I have. It's an 8x10. I'm gonna see what it looks like from afar, and if not, then I'll pass around. I have 3 of these, and I'll just pass those around for the kids to look at him up close. Super cute. And he's an Arctic axanthic twin spot snake. So I'm gonna talk about how, misunderstanding what I say. So sometimes people can say something, and everything they say can be true, but then you kind of meet a disappointment. And that'll be because he's so tiny and cute, or maybe they won't be scared. Maybe they're super happy that he's not a rattlesnake. I mean, come on guys. So it'll be that kind of spiel. And like we need to learn to manage those feelings. And then I'll go into his morphs, and I'm like, we tend to value snakes at what's special about them or whatever. And then I'll talk about what makes us special. So you might be an artist, you might be a soccer player, you might be a builder. Like, do you ever build with Legos? This is for kids, by the way, and you can build a really cool creation. I can't do that, but you guys probably are better at it than I am. So it'll be something like that. And then I'll go into, it's not that we're less valuable if we get bad grades or we're bad at sports or whatever. It just means we have different strengths. And then I'll probably go into like, oh, Texas Care can help. Oh, this bucket, by the way, is because I'm not sure if I'm gonna use the bucket or the yet, but I'll get that out for you because that looks ugly. And we'll talk about our worth and discovering our worth and how we can still get better at things that we're not very good at. Plus get a little lesson in snake genes, which I think will be fun. Then I'll talk about something that makes snakes actually valuable in the wild. So like in captivity, then the normal or wild type morph is just brown, boring, nobody wants it. Lots of people want it. But it seems less valuable, but they're super important in the wild because they don't get eaten, snatched up by predators, that kind of stuff, and because they keep down rodent populations or frog populations or whatever. And I'll be like, aren't you glad your purpose for living isn't eating rats? If I see a rubber rat for cheap in the meantime, I'll get one and hold it up just because it's gross, but I don't think I will. Sorry, I'm looking at my cheat sheet. So then I'm thinking that throughout this, and I'm just toying with this idea, I might do trivia. So at the beginning, I might be like, so I'm gonna do some trivia during this, and then give me a thumbs up if you think it's true, and a thumbs down if you think it's false. So it's more interactive. They're like doing something, they're not just stuck listening. So then at this point, I might insert the trivia of, if you get bitten by, oh, I need to talk about rear fang versus front fang venom. Speaking of locking it in, write it down. But I'll be like, true or false, if you get bit by a venomous snake, do you want to suck up the poison? And we'll talk about that. Then we'll put baby snake away, so he'll go back in his container. He's not gonna go back in here because I want him to have all the breathability he can, but he'll go back in here and I'll set it on the table. And I'll put his little venomous sign in front of it, so they know not to touch, right there. I'm gonna say, let's get out the bigger snake. And he's only like gonna be 8 months old at this point, so he's still pretty small for a ball python, but he's bigger than gummy worm. So I'll talk about his morph. He's an ultra ball python, Western Central Africa, that basic information. And then I'm gonna talk about how he's semi-arboreal. And then I'll get out this thing and I'm gonna put him on it. This is on my Instagram, Blessed Nest Pets, if you want a demo. He can't be disturbed right now, but I'm gonna get out this dowel rod and I'll put him on it. And then I'm gonna slowly turn it upright until he's kind of just hanging from it that way. And then I'll show how he can like hold up. And I might tell the story of the time I lost him because he had never climbed before, but then he learned he was semi-arboreal and he climbed up like a chair leg. So I was like looking on the ground for him. I was like, where did he go? So just climbed straight up. So I'm like, that's crazy. Then I'm gonna talk about defense mechanisms. So it'll be ball pythons. I'm realizing how long this is. My goodness. So like ball pythons, their defense mechanism. Oh, maybe I'll take guesses. Yeah, so I'm gonna be like, hey, does anyone have a guess? And I'll explain what a defense mechanism is. Like when you feel like you're in danger, when you feel threatened, what might a ball python do? And if they guess like they might bite you, then I'll say, oh, that's a good guess because some snakes will bite you. But then I'll talk about ball pythons and where they get their name from. They ball up, and I'll demonstrate with him because he's pretty comfortable being manhandled. The poor baby. He's such a good sport. And then we'll talk about human defense mechanisms. So I'll say maybe you're like a hognose and you lash out when you feel threatened. So you might hit, or you might yell, or you might throw things, or whatever. Or maybe you're more like a ball python and you feel the need to run away or hide or whatever. But like mental health people can help you out with that. And then we'll talk about some better things like taking some deep breaths. And then I'm gonna put Tonto away temporarily. So I'll put him in his little enclosure. And I've got this water bottle thing that's on the Texas Care South Wayside Instagram is the water bottle demo. But basically you shake a water bottle and it's got silvery glitter in it. And I'll be like, our brain gets overwhelmed, see all these sparkles, it blocks If you let it sit and you just take a few breaths, sometimes that can settle. And then I have one that's dyed blue, so I'll be like, and sometimes even when the sparkles settle, it stays blue. And that can be like depression, or you're stuck in anxiety or some sort of mental illness and you can't really get out on your own. That's when you need help. And then I've got a third one that's dyed blue, and I'm gonna put bleach in, and bleach looks clear, it looks like water. So I've got a little vial of it, I'm gonna put it in, I'm gonna be like, and then when you have some outside help, and it takes a few minutes, then it can. So my thought for when we're sitting there waiting a few minutes is, bam. When we're waiting for it, you're not even in this presentation, by the way, not yet. So when we're waiting for the bleach to turn, I'm gonna get Tonto back out, because I'm not quite ready for Tilly yet. I'm gonna get Tonto back out. There won't be any bleach on my hands, don't worry. And I'm gonna have a volunteer come up and I'm gonna be like, guys, keep watching the bleach, because it's gonna change color. And then, or not the bleach, oh, please don't say bleach. So keep watching the water bottle, because it's gonna change color. But I'm gonna get a volunteer up, and I'm gonna have them take a few deep breaths, and then I'm gonna have them hold Tonto. And that'll be a good thing to remember, because at the end, people are gonna get to meet Tonto, and it'll be good to have a demo. So that'll be the water bottle presentation. Once they're done, I'll be like, now look at the water bottle, and it'll be like mostly clear. So everyone will be like, whoa. I don't know, it's 6 through 16-year-olds. 6-year-olds will be impressed, maybe about 16-year-olds, I don't know. Okay, so then Tilly's part, I'm gonna say, okay, frequently asked questions. People often ask me, does she know any words? She knows peekaboo, but she doesn't say it on cue. And that's the only frequently asked question. That's the only thing people ask me about the bird. Ha ha ha. And then I'll be like, she's green-cheeked conure, they're from South America, 2 years old, that type of stuff. And then I'm gonna talk about how when we meet Tilly, we can pet her, but we can't hold her, and she experienced trauma when she went to step up on somebody and her nails were, oh, you're so good. And her nails were a little bit sharp, so they dropped her. And she didn't get injured, but she did get very scared by it. And so now she doesn't really like to step up onto strangers. And I'm gonna talk about how she's gonna go to a master class with a bird trainer to go work on that. And they don't need to feel any shame for working on their trauma, because sometimes we need extra help to get it through. Then I'm probably gonna talk about contra freeloading. So that's when animals prefer to work for food than just do stuff. And I'm gonna talk about how much work birds are, because she's so cute. Kids always leave and they're like, Mom, can we get a bird? And it's like, no, please don't get a bird. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about birds, and how we sometimes we feel like we need a purpose and all that good stuff. And she'll be on harness, by the way. Let's see. Tilly, good job. So what I'm gonna do is either I'm gonna have her go upside down for a nut. Come on, take it. And if she won't do it, then I'll do a vertical, because Tonto will have gone vertical. So it just depends. If she's willing to cooperate, it's a new trick. She doesn't know it yet. We've got 2.5 weeks to get her down. If she gets it down, we'll go upside down. If she doesn't, we'll do upright, because that one's easier for her. Then we'll put Tilly away, and we'll talk about a little bit more about what we do, who we are, how they might use our services, because, well, it can be nice to learn about mental health and our defense mechanisms and all that jazz. Sometimes you actually need to know where to find the help, and so we'll talk about what we do and how they can use us. And last part, then I'm gonna emphasize, like, hey, I need all your eyes and ears for this part, because you can't hold the animals if you don't listen to this part. And I'm gonna walk them through the different activities I'll have laid out while they're waiting in line. So there'll be like a word search they can look at. They won't be marking it, but just like look at, so that everyone can do it when they pass. I'm gonna have 2 snake hooks and a rubber snake, which I meant to get out earlier. And they can practice like picking up the snake with a snake hook, and just cute little stuff like that. And then they'll get up to me, and they'll have an opportunity to pet Tilly, hold, or take a picture with Tonto, and then hand sanitizer. I have a big thing of hand sanitizer that they can pump, and then go with the staff, because it's for a summer camp. So yeah, I'm realizing that I was like, I am worried it's too short, but I just summarized it. I didn't even do it, and it felt long. So I think we'll have enough material here. I don't even think we need Gio. She's not gonna be ready for it. She's too shy, so she won't be there. But yeah, once it's good and we have it recorded, I'm gonna hopefully upload it here. the full presentation, and then I can use it to pitch to churches, libraries, whoever kind of feels like their community might benefit. So I don't know. Thoughts? I don't know. It'll make more sense once the animals are there, once I've rehearsed the actual talk, but this is sort of just me. Bleh. I haven't talked it all the way through yet. I've just sort of taken notes. So yeah, expect another video on practicing with the animals when they're ready to cooperate.